welcome to Board Game Breakfast. It is late this week, and for that I apologize. It's because I got back from Grand Con in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and so just, different things going on there slowed this down, but it's still coming up on Monday. I will be doing a question and answer time sometime this week, but I'm not sure exactly when. It will not be Monday, that's all I know. Okay, a couple things of note. First of all, the Jack Vasel Memorial Fund is something that I have started to help gamers in their time of need, and it is something where we have a fundraising event for this each year. This fundraising event happens from October 21st to November 14th. There's on BoardGameGeek.com, we make a big auction and people auction off games in their collection. Games they're getting rid of, things like that, and it raises a lot of money. Well, an auction like this requires a lot of people to be involved, and so I'm looking for volunteers. If you're interested and you have a Board Game Geek account and you're willing to help out in this regard, please email me and let me know that you would like to be there, and I'll put you in touch with the people who run the auction. We are going to be at Essen in a week and 2 days. That's the big game fair over in Essen, Germany. And we want to make a big thank you to Yellow because they're helping us out get our live show together. Yellow sponsored the hall, so get their games, great games. And we'll be doing that on Thursday at 4 p.m. And you'll need to stop by the booth before that to get tickets for that show. If you want to find our booth at Essen, we'll be in Hall 7 at booth C112. So we hope to see you there. Don't forget you can vote in the People's Choice Top 100 Awards. You can go do that. Just look on our website, dicetower.com, and find the voting there. And then finally, a shout out from one of our Kickstarter backers. And we want to thank all of our Kickstarter backers, of course. This is for the Godson family, from John, Kim, Ashton, and Jocelyn. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. Okay, let's get to the news. Not much news this week, I'm afraid. That's because Essen is only a week away, and so we'll see what's going on there. Fantasy Flight has put up some previews of some of their upcoming games. The newest version of Runebound 3rd edition, but I think they're just calling it Runebound now, and the 3rd edition of Fury of Dracula. 2 3rd editions. Anyhow, also Mark Walsh from Tree Frog Games has put up the rules for both ships and the new version of Study in Emerald, which looks like a very different version from the original one. If you want to know more about ships, I did do a review of that last week.
One of the reasons I think we all like board games is it lets us unplug from the internet. But sometimes when I plug into the internet, all I want to read about is board games. One online resource I'm fond of for connecting to fellow gamers online is the board game page on Reddit. Some of you may already be familiar with this. I know that Tom has talked about it before. I know the Secret Cabal guys have talked about it before. But it really is an incredible resource. It is a wonderful clearinghouse for gamers to chat and discuss their games. And recently, it passed the threshold for having 100,000 members on it. Congratulations. Something I appreciate about Reddit is the way it allows you to gauge the popularity of an interest or hobby. For example, we can justifiably be proud of ourselves that the board game subreddit has over 100,000 subscribers, but the video game subreddit has more than 8 million. So, while we talk about games becoming more mainstream, frankly, we still have a lot of work to do out there. It's a message for all of you out there in Whitleypedia Nation. You can talk about games, ask rules questions, and you can show off your games. In fact, there's the COMC feature where you ask people to check out my collection. Some of you may say, well, Jared, that's what we already do on BoardGameGeek.com. And that's true. BGG is obviously still a great resource, but I'm probably more likely to check Reddit several times throughout the day than I am BGG. There are even some subreddits dedicated to a specific game. For example, Settlers and X-Wing both have about 6,000 members. But with about 140,000 subscribers, Magic the Gathering blows them all out of the water. Or should I say, blows them out of the stars and the island of Catan, respectively.
Where's my dices?
So what can you expect from the Dice Tower this week? Well, first of all, I'm excited because we are finishing all 3 top 100 lists. Eric's top 100, my top 100, Jason's top 100. All of those are going to be finished this week. We also have a pile of reviews that are coming. We'll be taking a look at the Undercity and Shakespeare, and so a few games that I'm excited to be talking about, and some games I'm not quite as interested in talking about that you may be surprised. So there's going to be different games that we'll be reviewing this week from me and Z and Sam, and then Board Game Blender will also be out this week. Don't forget, our podcast comes out each week, every Tuesday, so there'll be that tomorrow, and a lot of other podcasts. You can find out about all of these at Dicetower.com. Anyhow, lots of work to get done. Let's keep going.
Hey everybody, Tom's at GrandCon this week, so I'm going to handle the question and answer all by myself here. And we've been getting a lot of comments and questions on my top 100s asking about my plans for Essen, so let me tell you a little bit about them. First of all, I will be at Essen with Tom and Eric and Z, so the 4 of us will be there. Stop by our booth at 7-C112, and we'd love to meet all of you. We'd love to say hi, come by. We're going to have promos there and all sorts of other things. We're really looking forward to meeting you guys. As well, I just want to give you guys my top 5 games that I'm excited about for Essen. Personally, there's a lot of games that I've already played or games that are just expansions, but I'm going to go into the 5 games that I have not played yet that I'm excited about. Number 5 is Time Stories. We got to see a demo of this at Gen Con, and this game looks incredible. It's a co-op game, it's got mystery, it's got everything you could want in the game. My number 4, Trickarion. Now this is about magicians, and it's a Euro or worker placement. It's totally up my alley. The Euro part, as well as, come on, who doesn't like magicians? I mean, we're going to be playing in the world of the Prestige. How much cooler can it get than that? My number 3, Prodigal's Club. Everyone knows I love Last Will, and this is the sequel to Last Will, and also I hear that it combines with Last Will, so you could use it either as a standalone or a combination. I think it's going to be great. My number 2, Food Chain Magnate. I mean, it's Splatter. That's all we have to say about it. And the theme sounds great. I can't wait to see what kind of game they come up with next. And of course, my number 1, which I'm guessing will be a lot of people's number 1s, is 504. Come on! A game that you can play 504 times and be excited about it every single time? Well, hopefully they're all good. I mean, maybe one day we'll get the Dice Tower crew to do all 504 games live. I don't think so, but maybe Tom will do it. Anyway, that's my number 1 I'm excited for. It's Friedman Freese's new game, 504, and all the wonderful combination games you'll get to play with that one. So once again, my Essen plans is I'll be there. Tom, Eric, and Z will also be there. And like I said, we'll find us at Hall 7, booth C1112. We'll be with the Great Fox people, and we want to meet all of you out there. Have a very good day, and as always, send your Q&A questions to dicetower@gmail.com.
Chaz Marler from Pair of Dice Paradise here, and I have recently been thinking about whether it's possible to play a game by its rules, but still just play it wrong, either due to using a strategy that the game's designer did not intend, or when someone just sabotages a whole game for everybody when it becomes clear that they themselves cannot win. Now, the conversation on the topic over the past few segments has been really lively, and that has been awesome. But now, I have one more scenario related to this topic to postulate, and that is this. Is it possible to play a game right, even though you're not playing it correctly? It's a question that I admit made a lot more sense in my head, so allow me to explain. A popular new game that everybody at Gen Con seemed to be talking about was The Grizzled. The simplest explanation of this game is that each round, players, working together, take turns playing cards of various suits on the table, trying not to end up with 3 of a kind. Okay? Now there's many more layers to the game, but that's the core concept. It's very challenging, and pulling off a cooperative win against the game takes not only well-oiled precision on the part of the players, but also a generous dose of luck. Well, now, one night at Gen Con, 4 others and I were fighting furiously through a game of The Grizzle. We dodged, we weaved, we used every tactic available at our disposal to mend our wounds and inspire ourselves closer and closer to victory. We toiled, and in the end, we just barely managed to squeak by and defeat the game. We were victorious! Or so we thought. Because shortly after our win, a gentleman who had been playing another game at the same table as us and who had been watching us play politely pointed out that, of course, we had been playing a couple of core rules incorrectly. And they were minor rules infractions, but they did sway the game in our favor. And to be honest, we probably wouldn't have won if we had known any better. But the whole thing got me thinking about the nature of games, because even though in this case we didn't play by the rules as written, we did all adhere to the rules as we understood them. So, did we actually play wrong? Now, okay, I'm not trying to find a way to somehow claim that we still technically beat the game. No. My point is that if everybody at the table played by the same rules, albeit incorrect ones, and we all had fun, would it be fair to say that the game was technically a success, and that, therefore, we played the game the right way? Eh?
My name is Nick from Board Game Brawl, and over on my channel I reviewed 6 games last week, and I also did a full unboxing of the Kingdom Death Monster core game, which... there's a lot in that box. I'm still sorting through all of it, but do check that out because it's pretty amazing. Let's get to those reviews from worst to best. First, we have Minerva from Okazu brand. While the mechanics of this game are sound, it's very dry, very abstract, pretty ugly, and also very unforgiving. Not my type of Euro game. Then you had Roar Catch the Monster from Treffle, which is an augmented reality game. It requires an app, and it plays like Junior Scotland Yard. Gamerly gamers will not find a lot to latch onto here, but if you have kids, you should definitely give it a shot because you might love it with them. Then you have Starfighter from Istari, which is a 2-player only card game where you're having your Star Cruiser fight another player's Star Cruiser, but it's really not thematic at all. It has solid mechanisms, but it plays like a ladder climbing card game. It's worth a shot if you want a good 2-player game. Then you have Sheng Wang, Guardian of the City, a Taiwanese game from the company Big Fun. I really enjoyed this game. It's a card drafting game with bluffing elements. It has beautiful, somewhat risque artwork, but if you can ever track down a copy, do so. It's pretty solid. Then there is the English edition of Mysterium. I had previously reviewed last year the Polish edition of the game, so I already knew that I liked it. The English edition really doesn't change anything with the core mechanisms. It adds on some rules that frankly aren't that great and can be totally skipped, but the components in this one are much better and make it much easier for the ghosts to keep things sorted out. So if you don't have an edition of it yet, go for this one, I would say. And then finally, we have anticipation of the 3rd edition, the new printing of Fury of Dracula from Fantasy Flight Games, I finally got around to reviewing the 2nd edition of Fury of Dracula. This is an amazing game. It has a wonderful theme. I love one versus all hidden role, deduction style games, and it's just solid. If Fantasy Flight can streamline it, make it a bit shorter for the new edition, it will be an incredible game. Check it out either way. Thank you so much. See you next week.
Hello my friends, it's the Gameboy Geek here. Ubongo is a family-type Tetris puzzly-like game that just got reprinted from Thames and Cosmos. It's been out for a while. Normally I would have thought this was pretty good, but after playing Dimension, another puzzle game from the same publisher, this one just felt aged, older, and just not quite as fun. Evolution Flight is an expansion for Evolution. It added a decent twist to a type of species that you have, changes some of the mechanics in the game without changing too much complexity. So if you like Evolution, this is definitely one to check out. Noble Treachery is a card game of treachery where you're messing with your buddies, playing cards with special abilities, rolling dice, a lot of chaos. Think Red 7, the gamer version with more depth and special abilities on every card. So check that one out. Cubo is a family level dice game that does have a speed element. I liked it quite a bit. It's pretty puzzly. You're under a lot of pressure. If you like speed games and you like dice rolling, it's a family light level game from Queen Games Cubo. And the best one of the week, Last Spike. This is a diamond in the rough. Basically, it is a streamlined, more elegant version of Acquire in 30 minutes. Takes out all the boring long parts of Acquire, but gives all the depth in a much shorter, much streamlined way. That's the Last Spike.
Hey everybody, Z Garcia here. Last week I reviewed 3 games. I reviewed Encounters, Greatest Warriors. This one comes in 2 packages. You can buy one or both and combine them. And it's a push your luck dice game, which is pretty lucky even for this type of game and has a bit of text, so it wasn't quite my favorite, but I still enjoyed it. I also reviewed Trambon. This one is a 2-player card game in which you're collecting sets and you trigger your own scoring. I like this one a lot. And I also reviewed my favorite Carrera RS. This is a trick-taking game in which you can pump up your tricks with speed as you are racing, and it kind of turns trick-taking on its ear a little bit. I really like this one. So there you go. That was it for me, folks. I'll see you next time.
Welcome back, all you breakfast goers, to the next installment of a weekend review. And this week, I was able to get my hands on this little bad boy, a brand spanking new game called Steampunk Rally. It's a cool little dice allocation, dice rolling, dice allocation, and all that good stuff. And it's basically a 2 to 8 player game. Where you are taking on the personas of different inventors, and they are racing their little contraptions around a race in the Alps, a racetrack in the Alps, and whoever is the winner is the best inventor of all time. Cool little game, check it out. Then I also did a review, a long anticipated review of this game right here. Not new, actually old and actually out of print, but you can still find copies of it laying around. It's a cool little 2-player squad level tactical game, dice rolling, grid movement, pathfinding system that Tannhauser uses and only Tannhauser uses. Really cool game, very high on my list, 2 thumbs up. Watch the video. There are details in the video about how you can win this copy of Tannhauser. So go check that out as well. And then my third video this week was a painting minis video, painting minis with Sam. And it's a new series that I started about how I paint miniatures. And so maybe you can watch it and check it out. There's no rating because, quite frankly, you have to rate that bad boy. So thanks, and see you again next week.
Well, lots of different reviews from me this week. I'll start from the bottom up. In fact, there was only one review that was negative this week, and that's Stipulations, a party game in which you have something great happen to you. Hey, lifetime supply of candy, and other people mess it up. Yes, but you have no teeth, or whatever the things are. It was okay. It was a good idea, but it wasn't as well executed as it should be. Whitleypedia, a game from Poland about putting cards down and basically building paintings. If you like that sort of thing, you'll enjoy that game. Star Wars Boom Boom Balloon, where you're poking sticks into a balloon, trying to make the balloon pop. A very interesting concept. The game could have used a bit more work. I Know, which is a game, a trivia game, a decent one for mass market, where you get, you determine how many clues that you want before answering some category. Portal, the board game. This one a lot of people are certainly interested in. Very solid puzzle-style game where you're trying to figure out how to get the most cake. Then we have Crossmaster Quest. Crossmaster Quest was of Crossmaster Arena, basically a dungeon crawl, a very good, tons of pieces, tons of content. The rules are a little loose for this game, though. Ships from Martin Wallace. This is one of his lighter games. It feels like a more streamlined version of Automobiles, but it works really well, I thought, even if it doesn't look so fantastic. Flick 'em Up, Stallion Canyon, excellent expansion for this game, where you now have horses that you're moving around and you can flick things up a ramp and knock them off. Super fun there. Terra from Bezier Games. This is a trivia game mixed with a Euro game. That does not sound good, but it is. It's a really fantastic game, both educational and a lot of fun for people to play. No Thanks. I took a look at the new Mayfair version of this classic game of bidding where you put a chip on the card or you take the card and get all the chips. A simple game, always works well. And finally, Seven Wonders Duel, which is an amazing two-player back and forth game. It is not just Seven Wonders for two players. There's obviously similarities there, but it has a really good drafting system. So that's what I did. Let's move on.
Hi, today we're going to get the tools that we need. So let's take a run to the hobby store and get started. Okay, we're here in the paint aisle. I suggest an acrylic. Go with Americana at $1.09. They're perfect for beginning painting like we're going to be doing. And all the colors in the world that we need to do what we need to do. Brushes are your most important component. Now, I wouldn't get a really cheap brush, but I really suggest some of these fine touch brushes that come in the pack, and they come into about a 10 to 15 brush pack. They give you everything from a nice thick brush, so we can apply a heavy coat, to a very fine brush to taking care of details. Spray paints. We need primers. Now, the basic primers that you're ever going to need is a black, a gray, and a white. I suggest just getting a black and a white primer. But when you buy your primers, make sure that they say that they're for plastics as well, because some of these, the aerosol will actually melt some of the resins and the plastics. I also suggest that getting a palette set. For about $4, you can get a bunch of palette sets. This is going to help us water down some of the paints that I'm going to be talking about. It's going to be perfect for what we need to do and get a good consistency, and sometimes it's just easier to put a little into the pot and work from there. Great. Now you have an idea of all the stuff that we're going to need to get started. For an expanded look at the stuff that we're going to need, go to my YouTube channel at Robert Oren. There you can leave your questions, comments, and also vote on which game that we should start painting first, Imperial Assault or Rum and Bones. Yeah, Rum and Bones. Until next segment, this is Rob Warren, and I'll see you soon.
You know what I cannot stand? I cannot stand thin cardboard. I remember way back 10 years ago or so, or more than that, when Java came out and the cardboard was super thick, and we said, wow. And then as time went by, we started seeing thicker and thicker cardboard. We're at the point now where cardboard can be nice and thick. It doesn't have to be hugely thick, but this thin cardboard that's basically paper, and then you need to use that and move it around on boards, very bad idea. It just makes the game feel less of a game. You don't need to have super fat cardboard, but make it thicker.
Greetings everyone, this is Dean with Board Game Social, bringing you part 2 in our discussion of insurance and insuring your collection. Today we're going to take a look at the idea of, is your collection perhaps a collectible? Alright, traditionally speaking, collectible items have been trading cards, stamps, comic books, and because they were deemed as collectibles, the insurance companies put a limited amount of coverage on those items. It could be $1,000, it could be $2,500, but it was a limited amount of exposure for the insurance company. Game publishers over the course of time, because they want to be special and because they want to drive sales, and who doesn't want a collectible, they started to use that terminology to describe their own items. Collectible card games, collectible miniature games, all right? And now this has given insurance companies greater scrutiny in how they want to view these collections, and it gives them some leeway in how they are going to classify them. So if you have a very large Magic the Gathering collection, you say you have a Black Lotus or a Flaming Urethra, okay, you probably want to look at whether or not you have enough insurance coverage for those items. You can buy additional insurance, it's called riders, and there are actually specialty insurance companies out there that just focus on collectibles, and they can give you rates and they can appraise your stuff for you and tell you how much coverage you're going to need. So take a look at your collection, figure out if maybe this is something you might want to check out, and then make that determination for yourself. Join me next time when we take a look at business property. Are you receiving income for doing something with your game collection? Well, if you are, I guarantee you your insurance company has an opinion on that as well. Till the next time, take care.
Hello there, Board Game Inspector Bob Boxfart here. Today, on Board Game Theatre, we will witness the cataclysmic ending of the world. In Norse mythology, this final battle that results in the destruction of the world is called Ragnarok. This word is Old Norse for fate of the gods. And it's aptly named, for during this conflict of men, gods, and giants, many of the key figures in Norse mythology meet their doom. Characters such as Odin, Thor, Freya, Heimdall, Tyr, and Loki all fall in the great struggle. It will take a cunning clan leader to decide what battles to fight, and from which gods to gain favor.
The glorious name of Ragnar will be heralded across the land, and my axe shall see blood of King Horrid and Loki. Earl Ragnar seeks to be king, but I am king, King Horrid the First. And nobody likes Fluky. King Horrid, Ragnat. They think they have power, but they do not have the ear of the gods like I, Fluky, do. Blood will be shed. It's okay, Helga, my dear.
Who will quake in fear as the world ends and be consumed in the destruction of Ragnarok? What clan will rise above the others and take their place as the most glorious warriors in all of the world? Find out now on Board Game Theatre.
Well, this week I had a chance to go to Grand Con, which is in Grand Rapids, Michigan. This is a small regional type convention. And so they brought me and Z Garcia up, although we also saw Ryan Metzler there, which was good. And it was a lot of fun. This is a convention with variable numbers. There was people come in and out. It's not necessarily a destination convention, but a convention that people come in and out over the weekend. The convention is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And so we saw a decent amount of people Friday, decent amount of people on Sunday, but there was, the biggest crowd there was Saturday. There was a small dealers hall with some publishers that you probably have heard of, and also people selling puppets and art and paintings. The convention is mostly board games, but there was some role-playing too that I saw in back rooms of the hall. Maybe there was a lot more and I just didn't see all of it in the back there. It was a very painless process. In fact, this was probably the most casual convention I've ever been to. I would use that word to describe everything about it. It's very casual. The people in Michigan, which I've not been to many times if at all before, were incredibly friendly and polite. We noticed this as soon as we landed at the airport, and the weather was phenomenal. The food in the area was, well, you guys know I like food, and so just scrumptious, delicious food there. In fact, we went to the best breakfast in Michigan, which was exciting for me, and it was really delicious. For games themselves, I had a chance to play a few new games, but for the most part, I played games I already knew how to play. I played Cosmic Encounter, I played it twice, I played Caverna, I played Domain, I played Blue Moon City, and I really enjoyed this kind of going in and just playing games I already knew, teaching people games and things. And I have to say, for those of you from Michigan who were at the convention, you made us feel very welcome. We had a really great time. Our Wits and Wagers game was very fun. It's the first time I ever ran one without Eric, but Z did a great job, and that was a lot of fun. We played some Sheriff of Nottingham games that were just full of treachery and lying and all kinds of fun, different things going on there. So that was also very entertaining. We got to hang out with Richard Launius and Mike Fitzgerald, both of them designers. Richard Launius, Arkham Horror. Mike Fitzgerald did the Mystery Rummy series. And there were other designers and publishers there. And again, I just want to emphasize that it was very casually but well run. It was mostly open gaming. There was some scheduled game events, and there was a few panels, a designer panel, a panel on Kickstarter. But for the most part, people just went in. They had the same library that's from Gen Con. The same person who takes the library to Gen Con take it here. A lot of games in it that I would recommend not playing or even having in the library. In fact, the library, I think, could be cut by 2/3 and still be an effective library. But there was a lot of good games in the library, too. So overall, it was an enjoyable experience. If you live anywhere in that area, you should certainly consider going there next year. I would highly recommend that. Everyone just seemed to have a good time, just going in and out, playing games and spending time with each other. So from us to the folks at Grand Con, we're very glad that we could come in. And if you're in that area, go there next year.
Hello, Internet. Steve Tassi, curator at Snakes and Lattes here again. And as you guys know, back at the end of July, we went to Gen Con and we had an amazing time. We brought back lots of games for the cafe. But a lot of people are wondering, hey, Steve, what did you buy at Gen Con?
What did Steve buy this time?
First up, Vault Wars. This is Storage Wars meets Dungeons and Dragons. It's a card game where players are auctioning off different vaults full of stuff that have been left behind by adventurers who just never came home. The goal of the game is to get rich and make as many victory points as you can while collecting awesome stuff and selling crap off to the other players. It's got set collection, it's got a corruption mechanic similar to Scoundrels of Skullport, the Lords of Waterdeep expansion, and it has a variety of different auction mechanisms. All of them a lot of fun. Next on my purchase list was this little guy from Haba Games, Rhino Hero. Players have a hand of roof cards that they are trying to get rid of by building the apartment building taller and taller. It's like Jenga meets a house of cards. Some of those roof cards have special actions on them, which change the game a little bit. They reverse play order. They let you play 2 roof cards in a single turn. They force the next player to have to move the eponymous Rhino Hero up to the top floor of the building. You want to be the first person to get rid of all your roof cards, or be the person with the fewest roof cards left when the apartment building collapses. The game that I couldn't get at Gen Con because it sold out way too quickly, but I picked it up as soon as I possibly could, was Vladachivadel's latest Codenames. 2 players are spy masters, and they are trying to get their teammates to properly identify all of their team's agents on the board without offering help to the enemy and without accidentally identifying and falling victim to the assassin. The team's spy master will announce a single word clue accompanied by a number. And that number is how many of the cards in play that clue applies to. The team then begins to guess. As long as they guess correctly, they may continue guessing up to the number that the spy master gave. Players are allowed to make 1 extra guess per turn, assuming that they have correctly identified the number of cards that the spy master gave them this round.
Well, I hope my voice is not as bad as it was yesterday. I think Grand Con took a bit out of it, but it comes back. Wow, folks, this is going to be a week, because all this week we are doing stuff for this week and for next week, because we'll be gone at Essen. So there's a lot to get done, so I better get started on that. Once again, we'd like to thank all of you for watching Board Game Breakfast. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vasel and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production, sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., an amazing place to buy board games. Cool stuff, in stock, at CoolStuffInc.com.